social media and you look for other people that are talking about that subject or some subset of that subject, and then you engage them in conversation, and that creates some other links to your site, and it helps the SEO. Does everybody here have social media related to your website, and is that pretty common now? Yeah.
Barbara, sharing on social media, does it help to have a lot of people like something on your Facebook page, or does that have any effect on optimism?
That's actually the next thing I was going to talk about. So links to your website are what Google particularly looks at and says a link means they like you. So if it's social media share, if it's even just getting a company or another agency to put a link to your information, that means they like you. And the best thing is to use high-profile sites. So, government is also good. Most government websites are highly ranked. So you want somebody that's ranked higher than you. It's not just a matter of, oh, let's get a ton of links out there and it'll work. If a website that's ranked a 1 is linking to you, it's not going to help. So nonprofits are also good. They're usually highly ranked. Educational, if there's any way to get your information reposted by an educational institution or a blog that's educational, that's really helpful. And they should be natural and real links. So one of the things that happened was, this whole SEO industry sprung up around getting links, and so there's programs, there's companies with programs where they, spam, blogs, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but we get tons of these blog comments that, they're just spam and we delete them all, but I guess some of them get through, otherwise these people wouldn't be making money at it. So we just stay away from that. I don't think it works anymore. Google is trying to be smart enough to not see that. So when you have a link, it should be something where it naturally fits in with that other website's mission. Let's see. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. So I checked the ranking for some of the media, like a website that's a 10 would be like Google. Facebook is probably a 9. So, those are really high ranks. But I looked at like the Sacramento Business Journal and the San Francisco Business Times, and it's ranked at a 7, which is pretty good. So using press releases and getting them to pick up your information can help your search engine ranking, because that's a trusted site. They put it up, it's considered, a like to your website.
How can you find out that rating of 7 or 8 or of a website?
There's a couple of ways. I have a plug-in for Firefox that every time I go to a site, I can just see what it is. But Alexa.com has rankings, and I mean, a lot of times you can look at them and you'll know if it's probably a 1 or a 2. It's a spammy site, but yeah, those are 2 sources for that. Let's see, did that answer your question about the links? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so how to get links. So we talked a little bit about, press releases, getting them picked up. I did find out recently that some press release service, some wire services, when they send the press release out, a publication will pick it up, and they put something on it. They put a tag on it that's called "Do Not Follow," and what that means is it's not passing any trust onto your website.
What do you mean?
So, well, the New York Times does it. So if your press release is picked up by the New York Times, it's great. It's on the New York Times. it'll probably show up in search results and stuff, but it's not passing that like on to your website.
And so the New York Times itself does that to our press releases?
Yeah, yeah. But there's also a lot that do pass it on. The Business Journal is, I'm pretty sure they just don't do that. So. Did you have a question?
I was going to mention, if you've got a second, to explain how spiders move through the web in order to illustrate the do not like or the do not pass for New York Times.
Oh, so like, right, so when the spider is crawling the New York Times, it doesn't pick up the link, basically.
Yeah.
Is what happens. Yeah. So
What are spiders?
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract it. Google and all the search engines use something that they call the spider, and it literally reads the content and reads the text in all the links. And when it finds a link, it will travel to where that link goes and start reading over there. And the New York Times puts a stop and says, don't follow that link. And so the spider doesn't go follow that link and start reading over there.
right. And then
You'll get it the next time or two we study SEO.
Thank you, your life didn't
Sorry.
understand.
no, that's good. Thank you for pointing it out. So other ways to get links to your content would be to, if you're associated with another public agency, if your information, like we talked about, maybe could go onto a blog for a educational institution, very helpful. Getting the media to run your press release and to actually use it can really help. And social sharing, as we talked about, is also helpful. So the next page on the worksheet, I just wanted to point this out. We won't spend too much time, but it's a keyword planning sheet for press releases and blog posts. And I include both. I don't know if any of you guys do blogging, but it can be useful. So the idea here is that you actually start with the keyword. And then from that, you brainstorm what are the topics, what are the, what's a possible title that could be used with this keyword. And then move into, what's the content, what's the theme. And then having a call to action for your, sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. So a possible call to action would be, come to our website, get more, download the white paper on this subject, or sign up for an event, or, something like that. So anytime you can put any kind of call to action, then there's a reason for that link to be there, there's a reason for people to follow it, and you're more likely to get the results you're looking for. So I think we talked about a few of these, including your keywords in the headline, included in links in your press release, and when posting it, try to use a keyword in the address. So the last thing is great content. So one way to get more visibility is to have some unique content, and this is viral top 10 lists, widgets, and contests. And I know the contests probably don't apply so much, but the other ones may. So the objective is to get someone else to use your content, bloggers and such. And you can't individually reach out to a lot of the bloggers because there's just so many of them. But if you create something that is visual and interesting, they're going to seek you out and find you. So this is an example of an infographic. They're very popular now, and you're a very informational kind of group, you probably have a lot of stuff that could be put into an infographic that doesn't have to use a lot of words, graphically tells a story. And this one actually is talking about the value of long tail keywords. So photos of people, and then anything that's kind of a chart or graph or table. So think about when you're doing a release, if you have any information that could be presented in a graphical way, do that. It is more likely to get shared all over the place. And the media's, they love them. I see them all the time picking up infographics. Video, just keep it very short and interesting. It's important, it used to be, it had to be highly produced. Now it's fairly acceptable to, post a video that's short, that's done on an iPad or an iPhone or something. The main thing is make it interesting. Press interviews could be something, talking to an employee, maybe even about something related to your agency. One thought was like if with the Women in History Month, if there was some notable, maybe there's somebody who's going to get an award, doing a short interview with that person, posting it. All of these things, all of the news organizations, they have to constantly put stuff up on their website. It may not make it into the paper, but if it's interesting, they might post it on their website, and then that will get more links. Yeah.
Barbara, Tom O'Hare here was with KCRA for oodles of years, and Tom, would you mind sharing what you told me earlier about when you put out a press release?
Well, one of the things we started doing, I've only been with Contractor Sports since November, but I was in TV for almost 30 years. And I really love social media. I build computers, so I'm like the old guy that can learn new tricks. And my thing is every press release we put out, every sting we do, the Contractors Board does one sting a week on the average throughout the year, which means we call people from Craigslist, we bring them out to donated properties. If they break the rules of contracting and they offer bids over a certain amount, we issue them misdemeanor citations. So every time we do a sting, we have a promise with enforcement that we will write a press release. Well, I have a promise with every time we write a press release, I blast it out into social media. Sometimes I break it down into pieces and blast it out in pieces just to try and get some attention. I do a lot of original content sometimes I'll go out and shoot the stings and put it in and try and make it sexy and short. And what I started doing recently is I started using Google Play or Google Drive, and I go out and I shoot, I know what TV stations put on TV, and so I just go out and do real quick interview, shoot a little cover and edit together exactly what they would do at a TV station, and I put it up on Google Drive in high definition and they suck it up. And I do that for every press release now. And we just...
Say that again.
How do you put it inside it?
Well, the key is, the problem is if you put something on YouTube, few television stations can do anything with a flash file on YouTube. And if they can do something with it, it's at such pathetically low quality that they won't do something with it.
Yeah, YouTube really condenses everything.
But if you put it on Google Drive, for free, you get, in any personal account, you get 5 gigs of free storage on Google Drive. You can put any kind of file you introduce to it is how someone can go there and download it. I had a press conference in Orange the 15th of March, and 78 LA media entities went to Google Drive and downloaded that piece of video.
So how did they know to go there and find it?
Because when I put the press release out and they showed up at our press conference, on the back of my card I stamped the URL, here's the link for the video of the bust. Here you go.
So you don't put it in your press release?
Well, until you actually load, okay, I shot the event, loaded it that morning, so I didn't know what the URL was going to be early enough. And until Google decides that I'm having too much fun for free on Google Drive, I just write it on there, and then I don't have to make CD. Nobody can do, a big, huge misconception of the press too, nobody can do anything with a DVD, period. No news van is going to show up there and take your DVD and be able to put that on TV, because Avid, Adobe, and Final Cut are the 3 programs, for the most part, that are being used for editing now in vans. None of them can do anything with a DVD. So you need to burn your files to QuickTime is the most popular. Everything you should put out, you should be putting out in QuickTime files. Because Windows Media, none of the editors know what to do with Windows Media. I could fill your whole time talking about this, but there are so many the media changed so fast in the last couple of years, and what I find, media relations people are not keeping up with what their real needs are, and to get stuff on TV quick.
Let me ask you, with the Google Drive, do you just leave it up there for like a week and then you replace it with the next one?
I figure once the explosion's over, you know, even like 3 days later.
Yeah, so you don't need a lot of storage for that.
No, I mean,
Replace it.
depending on how you compress it, you can put a lot on there. And then if you pay a couple extra bucks, and it's like chump change, you can get 10 or 15 gigs
Yeah.
for nothing, for virtually nothing.
You-
Different than Vimeo, if you're looking at
Well, Vimeo's got the same problem that YouTube has, and it's not a friendly file. You have control of the file shell when you put it up on Google Drive, and now Microsoft's jumped into the thing too, because I just registered. Microsoft has a file sharing space too, and they're offering 7 gigs for free. But you have complete control of what you put up and what you bring down.
Do you
So-
use a password, or is it just, you don't, the media doesn't have a password, they're just?
When you put it up, you have a choice to share it with just the people you send the email to, share it with people that have the direct link, or public sharing. You have the choice.
So can I understand, so your recommendation is to put our videos on Google Drive, is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what I do. I'm just saying, we started doing that to accompany every press release because we felt we're the headquarters for CSLB, and we don't really have the ability to go to the far reaches of the state, and we thought that way we can just put our product in a high definition, manageable form instantly out there, you know.
So, the quotes, for example, that you put in a press release, shooting the guy actually saying that, does that buy you anything?
You know what, you can, if you have a talented person at your shop, you can make it look exactly like, when I used to go out for 29 years and come and interview people, you make it look exactly like they make it look.
Okay.
When you said you use QuickTime, are you, do you know the format that you're going for, MP4 or MOV or?
Well, I don't, yeah, it's MOV, it's
Okay.
just the QuickTime, it's, you know, that's another discussion entirely, compression and stuff, but the standard QuickTime compression, and what's interesting is I get, as much as we talk about high definition, I get very, 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 very few requests for high definition, because in the field, everybody says, you know, KCRA HD, they're not doing high definition anywhere outside that studio except for the helicopter. They're doing widescreen. The only station in town that's using HD from the top to bottom that I think is Channel 40. They shoot HD in the field.
This has been really interesting and fascinating. Sounds like we're going to have you back for a more in-depth discussion.
My wife said shutting me up is the hardest part. I can just talk and talk, that's a whole other discussion.
We'll bring you back in.
Well, that's really good. We use, there's a number of file sharing, and, you know, we use Dropbox a lot, and that way we kind of control who gets invited to it. But
Yeah.
if you want to just kind of put it out there for the public, yeah.
You Send It is a really kind of a real high quality one too. You Send It's really
Yeah,
nice.
that one, you know, the person says, I want it, and then you send it to them, and, yeah.
Well, it started as a wacky experiment for us, and it works really well, and we just
But I
started
haven't
doing
tried
it.
I mean, we use Google Drive for a lot of stuff, but I haven't tried disseminating video that way, so that's great. Okay. Just a couple more things on content. So I just want to explain what a widget is. Basically, it's a graphic, but the concept is that you make the graphic something that somebody wants to put on their website, and then there's a link from that graphic back to your site. So it could be an award, or, you know, it could be like a seal of approval from your organization about something. But the main idea is just to give them a reason to put it on their website. And then thus creating a link. So let's see. The other things are top 10 lists, humor, celebrities. Often this stuff doesn't come around, but if it does show up and there is something that makes sense, it definitely gets more buzz about you.